Lingyuan travels through the world of Pokémon, missing parents, the sudden arrival of the Chrysanthemum King, the hidden mastermind behind the scenes, the organization of guardians carrying heavy loads in the darkness, and the mysterious master trainer. Lingyuan leads his ghost legion into the real Pokémon world with you. Geng Gui, don't keep having nightmares with me. Host Spirit Abyss. Fear value 10 Disgusting monkey, that's not a sandbag, that's a load-bearing wall. Host Spirit Abyss. Fear value 100 Snow Fairy, it's impossible for us, please take it seriously. Host Spirit Abyss. Fear value 1000 Lotom, don't use any appliances in the player's room. This is the last microwave. Host Spirit Abyss. Fear value 10,000 Tomb Young Dog, or are you the best? Hello, is anyone there? Welcome to the haunted and terrifying haunted house, challenge your courage and wisdom. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Starting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The gloomy sky, the decaying earth, seemingly boundless dark clouds, surrounded by a large number of evil spirits, emitting an ominous aura all over their bodies, floating in the air as if chasing something. Boom! Geng Gui used the wave of evil. Hearing his master shout, Geng Gui rubbed his hands hard, and a huge purple beam rushed out of the sky, knocking away numerous evil spirits. The middle-aged man was running at full speed with his lover in his arms. We must catch up, we'll make it to the exit soon. Aya persevered. When the man thought he was about to break through the space crack, the entrance to the spiritual realm in front of him suddenly closed. No, the man let out a reluctant shout, as one hand brushed his cheek. My husband is fine. I knew it would happen the moment I became a guardian. The man looked at his wife, feeling sad. I hurt you. You shouldn't have entered the spiritual realm with me. At this moment, the wife reluctantly stood up from her husband's embrace. Since we can't go back, let's fight against these evil spirits. Although the wife was seriously injured, her eyes were still full of determination. Little Mimi, we're going to do our best. A huge shadow claw extended from behind her, and the champion-level fanfiction Q no longer restricted herself, fully unleashing her ferocity. Geng Gui also returned to the man's side at this moment, as if the atmosphere was no longer serious. He made a funny face and wanted to tease his trainer like he did when he was a child. The man regained his composure, and his eyes also showed determination. Yes, I can't go back, so let's take these damn things and bury them together. Feeling the belief of his trainer's unwavering determination to face death, Geng Gui and Mimi Q unleashed their champion realm with all their might, and a terrifying aura surged out of the sky. The evil spirits felt a terrifying aura flying everywhere, but they never left. Their black hole-like eyes seemed to be watching the delicious food, tearing apart this living soul. The man and woman held hands and looked at the evil spirits in front of them, little ghost, little mystery, shadow ball. The huge shadow ball became unprecedentedly huge under the joint force of two champion-level elves. The huge shadow ball rushed out of the sky and directly eliminated hundreds of evil spirits. Husband, I didn't expect such an ending. What should my son do? Although the woman had a determined face, when she mentioned her son, her heart was filled with guilt. She couldn't accompany him to grow up anymore. Alas, even if we all leave, Teacher Juzi will take good care of him, just hoping that he won't follow our old path. The man was relieved. He looked at the evil spirits gathering again in front of him, and the anger accumulated in his heart began to release. Geng Gui and Mijue Q rose up in the air, as if the previous move did not consume too much. The final scene remains of a man and a woman, commanding their own elves to charge towards the army of evil spirits, facing death as if returning home. Time has returned to the recently closed cracks in the spiritual realm, where there are broken arms and limbs everywhere, and the gates of the ruins are stained red with blood. An elderly woman was walking on the path to the altar, with dark golden hair and a purple dress. She was wearing an apron in front of her, giving the impression of a kind old lady. However, her eyes were filled with murderous intent, as if she could freeze everything ahead. The crimson eyes hidden in her shadow flashed past her. She walked up to the altar, as if to herself, "Did you come out yourself, or did I invite you out?" On the pillar next to the ruins, a ghostly energy suddenly flowed, and a young figure appeared from it. It's truly you. Chrysanthemum old lady, only you can see through my hiding. We haven't seen each other for many years, 30 years, right? Yes, back then, I, you, Daimu, and Aliu, we embarked on an adventure together to support the growth of the alliance. Kikuko seemed to be recalling the past, looking at her former friend and marveling at the cruelty of time. But you betrayed me. Not only did you assassinate Aliu while he was still seriously injured, but you even cruelly slaughtered 4 towns and ate the souls of all the innocent and elves to break through the master realm. Kikuko stared at the person in front of her with a murderous gaze. Ha, what's wrong with me to add a master? The souls of those lowly people have added a master to the alliance. What's wrong? The other party suddenly became excited, and their words were filled with madness. What have you done to my disciples? Kikuko asked calmly, unaffected by the madness of her words. They, of course, were lured to the spiritual realm by me, and now they probably have been torn to pieces by evil spirits. The person in front of them seemed to remember something fun, with a slight smile on their lips. Boom! The huge shadow fist rushed towards the opponent, and Geng Gui in Juzi's shadow couldn't help but take action directly. Boom! The green protective cover protected the young people inside. A crystal lantern spirit floated beside the other person, and the ghostly elements were surging. This crystal lantern spirit was more than twice the size of a typical crystal lantern spirit, and the space seemed to twist due to the boiling of fire and ghostly elements around. Geng Ghost, Mega Evolution. Kikuko pressed her palm on the 7-colored gemstone on her cane and took out her killer mace. The 7-colored light enveloped Geng Ghost, flashing through it. Geng Ghost had spikes in all parts of his body, and the lower part of his body was purple-red with a hole in the middle. Super Geng Ghost appeared. The elf ball on Kikuko's body automatically opened, and all the main players appeared. Kikuko's body also began to change, slowly returning to youthfulness. Soon, a young blonde beauty appeared in the center of many elves. So you have also broken through to the master level, Kikuko. It's been 30 years since we last met. Let's have fun. The other party is not hiding either. Inside the Poke Ball, there are also many Pokemon, such as Soul Summoning Eye, Flower Rock Monster, Rogue Crocodile, Crow Head, and so on. The two sides confronted each other in this ancient ruins, and the terrifying air pressure shook the ruins to the brink of collapse. Suddenly, both sides moved, and dozens of energy waves bombarded each other, producing a huge explosion. The ruins began to collapse, and the war between the two sides began. In the end, the war lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. Except for the two sides in the battle, no one knew the final outcome. Only the ruins located several kilometers around the ruins recounted the brutality of the battle. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 2. Home with Haunted Houses. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I'm going to be late for work. A young man with purple hair woke up from the bed. It was a specially decorated room with a huge Geng Ghost poster, a candlelight spirit table lamp, a Geng Ghost tongue alarm clock, a puppet imitating Q, and a bed cover embroidered with a large number of ghost-themed Pokémon patterns. When the boy woke up and looked at the virtual screen in front of him, it displayed, Host Spirit Abyss. Fear +10, I scared the baby to death. I thought I was putting it back on again. He stroked his slightly wet face. Ghost Stone, you roll out immediately and I'll count to 3, 1, 2. As I was about to count to 3, a figure surged out of the bed, and a black smiling face appeared. Jia Jia Jia. Looking at the smiling face in front of him, Ghost Stone, didn't I say, don't you use tongue licking when I'm sleeping? The boy looked at Ghost Stone in front of him with a resentful expression. It wasn't the first time he had been ambushed while he was sleeping. The boy woke up and opened the curtains, lost in thought as he watched the rising sun in the distance. Hello everyone, my name is Lingyuan. In my past life, I was a standard social animal, constantly commuting between work and family. After working overtime and looking forward to the Chinese New Year holiday, I was driven by the cement truck god of war as my performance. When I woke up again, what I saw was a big face of Geng Gui. As I had just woken up, I cried in fear on the spot. However, my new parents, Geng Gui, and Mimi Q were frantically trying to make me happy. It was only then that I found out that I had traveled to my favorite Pokémon world in my past life. My family is quite special. My parents don't know if they really like ghost Pokémon. They all have ghost Pokémon at home, like Aunt Geng, who likes to make me happy, and Uncle Q, who is calm and steady, but in reality, he is a sulky person. I'm not very sure exactly what our family does, and occasionally my parents disappear for a while. I don't know what they do, but they always come home at the agreed time. Until I was 5 years old, they never came back. 2 weeks had passed since the agreed time, and an old man arrived at my doorstep. When I saw the old man, I was shocked. The familiar apron, long skirt and crutch made me obedient. As a Pokémon fan, how could I not know who this old man was? Kikuko Heavenly King, the oldest Heavenly King in the Alliance, is also a true master of ghost and poison. My parents know Kikuko Heavenly King. Are you Xiaoyuan? Your parents have gone a long way, and from today on, you have been living with me. Kikuko's eyes were filled with sadness, but she still tried her best to maintain a kind smile. As a child with an adult soul, I fully understand the meaning of this sentence, and then I followed this old man away from my home where I stayed for 5 years. Today is my 10th birthday, and there is a strange situation in this world. If I decide to become a trainer, I will set off for a trip at the age of 10. This is due to the differences in the trainer factions within the Alliance. According to the information I have received, this world is more in line with the situation in the special manga. Trainers are divided into the travel faction and the academy faction, and outdoor battles are more inclined towards irregular battles, while internal league competitions are more inclined towards regular battles. The reason why children are allowed to travel at the age of 10 is to exercise their wild fighting ability and find suitable geniuses through natural selection. However, due to the large number of people dying during travel every year, many parents prefer to send their children to training homes and schools for further education. The vast majority of the strong members in the Alliance's top ranks now come from the traveling faction, each of whom is a warrior who has experienced numerous battles. It is their suppression that has protected the safety of numerous civilians. The strength of elves is mainly divided into beginner level, 1.10 levels, beginner level, 11.20 levels, intermediate level, 21.30 levels, advanced level, 31.40 levels, elite level, 41.50 levels, Taoist level, 51.60 levels, quasi-king level, 61.70 levels, king level, 71.80 levels, champion level, 81.90 levels, and master level, 91.100 levels. The strength of elves is not defined solely by their energy level, but by their overall strength. However, the highest level that the vast majority of civilians can reach is the Daoguan level, because every city is guarded by Daoguan, while towns are jointly managed by police and administrative agencies. Alliance trainers are divided into ordinary trainers, junior, intermediate, advanced, elite level trainers, Taoist level trainers, quasi-heavenly king level trainers, heavenly king level trainers, champion level trainers, and master level trainers. Looking at the rising sun, Lingyuan sighed and said, "Ghost Stone, let's go and have breakfast." After finishing making the bed and washing up, Lingyuan took Gui Stone downstairs and left the room, walking down the stairs to the kitchen. Lingyuan's current residence is a 3-story villa, with the first floor being a haunted house operated by him, the second floor being the kitchen and rooms for the elves, and the third floor being Lingyuan's own room. Not long after Lingyuan and Juzi left, his golden finger awakened and was called the strongest ghost series Pokémon Master System. This system is very foolproof. Its main function is to collect people's panic emotions and convert them into panic points. Lingyuan can use panic points to synthesize necessary items and assign tasks, as well as to identify elves. He didn't even receive any guidance instructions. When he got the system, he was ecstatic, but after calming down, he realized that he needed to collect panic emotions before he could use it. He is not a big villain, he is a third-generation member of the alliance that is rooted in Miaohong. So he came up with a solution, which is to open a haunted house. After careful selection, he chose the busiest city, Jinhuang City, as the location for the haunted house, and specifically found an empty and haunted mansion. This villa had a family that had died before, and an urban legend appeared on the internet, saying that the wealthy businessman's father suddenly went crazy and killed his wife and daughter. Finally, he hanged himself in the hall, and the ghost inside kept wandering. After seeing this legend, he was overjoyed. Isn't this a tailor-made haunted house opening point? He even helped him with the promotion. So he fully exerted his shameless spirit of running solo in his past life, ran to Kikuko, played coquettishly, and finally obtained Kikuko's consent. At the age of 8, he came to Jinhuang City to buy this haunted house and transformed it into a haunted one until now. Geng Shi, Ghost Stone flew to Lingyuan and watched him cook breakfast, spinning around him as if urging him to prepare his meal. I know, you'll be ready later. After the fried egg was ready, he pushed the toast into the toaster. Lingyuan walked to the nearby drawer and took out the ghost energy block and Lingxiang. The energy block was a top-level energy block made by the system after Lingyuan invested specific tree fruits, while Lingxiang was an elf prop that promoted the development of ghost Pokémon. Little candle, this is your portion, Lingyuan said to the void as he placed a large dog bowl filled with energy blocks. Woo, woof, woof, a dog barked in the void, and a tongue suddenly extended to roll up the energy block. By the way, where have the boss, second, and third gone? Didn't they always order on time every time? Lingyuan asked Gui Stone. Jieshi, Ghost Stone kept gesturing in front of Lingyuan, making a face and laughing. Are you saying they came up with a new performance and went to the Golden Dao Hall? Lingyuan said with uncertainty. Jieshi, Ghost Stone nodded, alright, go pick them up during lunch break. Lingyuan waved his hand indifferently and was about to start his daily business after breakfast. Hello, is anyone there? A voice came from outside the haunted house. Welcome to the haunted and terrifying haunted house, challenge your courage and wisdom. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 3. Letters from Pokémon Center. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ah, help me, don't come over. A girl was scared by the bandage monster chasing behind her and ran away, rushing to the next exit and arriving at the next room. The girl looked around and saw a dilapidated classroom. Suddenly, a cute child's voice rang out, 1, 2, 3 children, 4, 5, 6 children. Are you coming to play with me? Ah, no. The girl looked at the chair rushing towards her and ran away in fear. Fear value plus 10, fear value plus 10, fear value plus 10, through the camera, inside the surveillance room, I watched the frightened female guest running away, biting a lollipop and saying, ah, I've been staying with the ghost Pokémon for a long time, and I've become a bit mischievous. Lingyuan looked at the increasing terror value in front of him, feeling very happy. 15 minutes later, at the entrance of the haunted house. I will come back, you wait for me, the girl stubbornly turned her head and left. "Welcome to your next visit and have a wonderful day," Lingyuan said with a smile as he bid farewell to this regular guest. The guest's name is Shueiyue, and he is a student from Pokemon Training School. He belongs to the type of person who has a strong addiction to food and vegetables. Despite not completing the entire challenge, he shouted loudly and hid in a corner trembling. Lingyuan had to turn on the light to invite her out. "Ghost Stone, let's temporarily finish work and go for lunch. Little Candle, can you help take a look at the house for a while?" Lingyuan activated the switch and closed the door of the haunted house, shouting upstairs. "Woo, woof." The barking of a dog came from the room on the second floor, as if saying, "It's wrapped around me." Gui Stone floated beside Lingyuan, one by one, walking towards the center of Pokemon. Along the way, Lingyuan greeted many shop owners. Ding dong, the glass door of the Pokemon Center automatically opened. "Good afternoon, Sister Lan. You are still so radiant today," Lingyuan skillfully praised Miss Joey from Golden City. "Xiaoyuan, you still speak so well. How come you have time to come to the Pokemon Center today?" "It's nothing, I just missed the food here, sister. I'll have to go to the Golden Dao Hall later and bring the boss and the others back," Lingyuan replied casually. "They're going to perform cross-talk again. Take them here to play when you have time." "I haven't seen them in a long time," said Joey Lan with a smile. Definitely next time," then walking towards the Pokemon Center cafeteria, Lucky Egg suddenly grabbed Lingyuan's clothes. "What's wrong, Lucky Egg? What's up?" Lingyuan turned around and looked at him, with an egg-shaped body, short hands, and a short tail. It has two hair-like extensions on its head, and a Pokemon with an egg hanging from its abdomen. Lucky Egg hands over an egg on its chest with a short hand. "Is this for me?" Lingyuan pointed to himself. Lucky Egg nodded happily, held the egg in his hand, and said thank you to Joey Lan. He took Ghost Stone to the cafeteria for lunch. After finishing lunch, I'm ready to set off for the Golden Zodiac Hall to pick up the boss and his team back home. Xiaoyuan, wait a moment, Joey Lan called out to Lingyuan. What's wrong, Sister Lan? Holding the egg in her arms, she was still thinking about how to cook dinner when she heard Joey Lan's shout and looked at her in confusion. Here are 2 letters from you, with the exclusive seal of the Alliance on them. You need to sign them and take them away. Joey Lan solemnly handed them to Lingyuan. Mine, and also the exclusive seal of the Alliance. Lingyuan took it in confusion and signed his name on the confirmation form. When I came to the gate of the Golden Zodiac Hall, I looked at the familiar palace design, and roast in my heart, Sister Nazi, why hasn't she changed the decoration style? What I see is almost as good as my haunted house. Lingyuan shook his head and walked into the Golden Zodiac Hall in diameter. Along the way, he skillfully greeted the staff and walked straight towards Nazi's room. A middle-aged man stood in front of Lingyuan and said, Xiaoyuan, long time no see. Uncle, long time no see. How have you been with Auntie lately? Lingyuan greeted the middle-aged man in front of him. This middle-aged man was Nazi's father. When Lingyuan first moved to Jinhuang City, he remembered the story about Nazi. When he met the middle-aged man in front of him at the Jinhuang City Park, Lingyuan decided to help this genius girl. He specifically borrowed her 3 team members from Grandma Juzi, a Geng ghost at the level of a heavenly king. Afterwards, he took the Geng ghost to Ziyuan town and found the 3 brothers of Geng ghost who were watching TV and imitating funny videos. With the friendly persuasion of the heavenly king Geng ghost, these funny 3 brothers decided to follow Lingyuan and leave. After that, it was easy. He led the heavenly king Geng ghost directly into the Golden Road Hall, and faced Nazi. Lingyuan, without showing any martial arts skills, directly dispatched the heavenly king Geng ghost. A heavenly king suppressed KC in Nazi, ***, ***. Then they sent out 3 funny brothers to perform in front of Nazi. After Nazi laughed, she returned to normal. Nazi's father also arrived in time and looked at the Heavenly King level gung ghost and wanted to take action. However, when he saw Nazi return to normal, he stopped. Later, Lingyuan and Nazi recognized each other like this. After returning to normal, Nazi also began to participate in the dojo challenge normally. In her spare time, she would also take on some modeling or film-making work. She is now a very famous international film star and fashion model, but her uncle has some reservations about this. After being slapped by Nazi's sister and hit on the wall, she followed her. Boss, second, third, is the name given by Lingyuan to the funny 3 brothers. They found that Nazi particularly enjoyed their funny shows, and every time they learned new performances, they would come to Nazi's place to play. In addition to helping Lingyuan operate haunted houses, they would also dominate the TV and learn funny videos about humans during their breaks. Lingyuan and Uncle came to Nazi's room, chatting and laughing. Uncle knocked on the door, and it automatically opened. The 3 brothers performing and Nazi laughing were in front of them. Nazi, long time no see. Xiao Yuan, I've come to pick you up and take you home. Today's performance was great, and I'll wait for your new performance, Nazi said to the funny 3 brothers. Jenga, 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 Jeshi, 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 the 3 brothers stopped performing and nodded. Sister Nazi, congratulations. I heard that your performance in Beauty and the Cabby Beast has achieved great success at the box office in the United States region, Lingyuan said to Nazi. Thanks to you, Xiao Yuan. If it weren't for the story you wrote, there wouldn't have been a chance to act, Nazi smiled. Then I'll take the boss and his team home first. We still have business in the afternoon and come to visit our sister when we have time. Lingyuan said as he greeted the funny 3 brothers and prepared to leave. Xiao Yuan, your leisure time is almost over. Nazi suddenly said mysteriously. What does that mean? Lingyuan looked at Nazi in confusion. You'll know when you go back, remember to come to me before you leave. Nazi didn't say the reason, but advised on other things. Lingyuan returned home with doubts and humor from the 3 brothers. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 4. Moving. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Leaving the Golden Dao Hall, the funny 3 brothers all sneaked into the shadow of Lingyuan, returned to the villa entrance, reopened the door, hummed the sign of the business, and walked to the 2nd floor. Little Candle, we're back. Lingyuan arranged work for the boss and Gui stone, then walked to the 2nd floor and placed the eggs of the lucky egg on the dining table, shouting into the void, woo, woof, woof, woof. Suddenly, a white-haired dog named Pokémon appeared in front of Lingyuan, with a short tail and 3 hard claws on each limb. Its chin protrudes, and its nose and mouth are empty. It has a striped protrusion on its head, resembling a tombstone in shape. This is the Tomb Yang dog, and also the initial Pokémon of the Spirit Abyss. Elf. Tomb Flying Dog, Little Candle, Gender. Male Attribute. Ghost Type Characteristic. Furry Qualification. Heavenly King Level. 64, Mid-level of Quasi-King, Level Skills. Tomb Sweeping, Ghost Fire, Collision, Cry, Lick Tongue, Roar, Head Hammer, Dig Hole, Bite, Play, Underworld Raid, Sacrifice Rush, Coquettishness, Shadow Ball, Share Pain, Ultimate Impact, Night Shadow, Evil Comes Alone, Sunny Day, Hold, Frozen Teeth, Flame Teeth, Thunderbolt Teeth, Dream Talk, Odor Detection. Genetic Skill. Same Destiny, The Mysteries of the Heavenly King. Song of Spells, Coffin Explosion. When Lingyuan was 2 years old, his parents brought back a newly born tomb dog from outside. Lingyuan was very surprised at the time because in Lingyuan's memory, it was clearly an elf from the Padia region. Although there was no information disconnection in the elf world, the alliances between different regions were like those of previous countries, and there were often communication activities. However, the distance between the Kanto region and the Padia region was equivalent to being on the other side of the planet. At that time, Lingyuan didn't care so much. Excitedly, he rushed forward and hugged the little dog, which scared Lingyuan's parents half to death. Because before the tomb dog grew up, it would gradually absorb human essence unconsciously, so it should not be played with for too long. For a 2-year-old doll, this is very dangerous. His mother rushed over to separate the two and educated him that such behavior was dangerous. Lingyuan was also careless and forgot about it. Later, under the guidance of Aunt Geng Gui, the tomb dog learned how to not absorb human essence. Lingyuan became inseparable from the tomb dog and named it Little Candle. On the evening of Lingyuan's 4th birthday, Lingyuan evolved into the tomb young dog. After Lingyuan's parents went missing, Lingyuan lived with Little Candle in Grandma Juzi's house. Lingyuan often shamelessly brought Little Candle to look for teachers and basically consulted all 3 members of Juzi's team. Little Candle also reached the peak of Daoguan level under the intentional cultivation of Juzi at the age of 7, mainly due to the excellent ghost-style food of the Juzi family and intentional additives. When Lingyuan proposed to go to the Golden Market to open a haunted house, Juzi also made a bet with him. If Little Candle could break through to the quasi-heavenly king, at the Daoguan level, he understood his own mysteries and began to move towards the heavenly king. Without the help of others in Lingyuan, she would agree to let him go to the Golden Market to open a haunted house. In the end, Lingyuan also completed the mysteries of the small candle with the help of the system and the ingenious ideas of his past life, which are curse song, cry plus share pain plus essence absorption. A large scale move that forcefully shares damage and absorbs and diffuses essence through the cry, forcibly absorbing and restoring stamina. Coffin explosion, tomb sweeping plus night shadow plus odor detection. A large scale attack that transforms the target of tomb sweeping from a single person to multiple people, with consistent attack levels and locked in through odor detection. After completing 2 prototypes of the Heavenly King's mysteries and undergoing extensive training, Little Candle finally broke through to level 61, Quasi-Heavenly King Beginner, 2 months later. The aura of the breakthrough directly attracted many Pokémon in the manner. Grandma Kikuko also came to the scene, her eyes filled with shock, surprised by Lingyuan's talent, and also felt relieved for her disciples. Chrysanthemum did not backtrack and provided all the help for Lingyuan's haunted house plan. I touched the dog's head of the small candle and asked him to go to the backyard to play. I was sitting on a chair, looking at the 2 letters sent by the Alliance. When I tore open the first letter, I found that it was an invitation letter, mainly inviting Lingyuan to participate in the Daoguan trainer test. The location was at the Jinhuang City Trainer Association, and the specific date. Lingyuan's head was filled with question marks. He didn't apply to become a Taoist trainer, and isn't it that all the trainers in the Kanto Taoist trainers are full? What is the situation? When he opened the second letter, it contained a house deed and venue planning map in Dark City. When Lingyuan saw these things, he was even more confused. Just then, a small note appeared, and Lingyuan lowered his head to look, hissing. There are a few words written on it with strong force. Call me, this word is too familiar, it's Grandma Juzi's word. Lingyuan quickly picked up the landline and dialed the familiar number, after a burst of music. Hello. His grandmother's voice came from across. Grandma, you're doing well. I miss you so much. Lingyuan said with a smile on his face. Why, once you're used to freedom, don't you remember me as an old man? How could that be? I've been thinking of you all along, and I'll go back to see you in a few days. No need, Xiaoyuan, have you received those 2 letters? Got it, Grandma. What's going on? I haven't applied for a Taoist trainer, and what's going on with the land deed in this Dark City? This is what I helped you apply for. Dark City is preparing to expand its development scale, and the alliance is planning to add a local museum owner. However, the candidates they provided are not satisfactory to the alliance, so I decided to ask you to go. The invitation was only a formality, and the assessment date is 2 months later. I know your strength, and as long as you can prove your quasi-heavenly king's strength, you can take office. The land deed is for you to build a Taoist temple and the haunted house you want. I have arranged for people to decorate it, and you can move in now. That's not good. I'm only 10 years old. I can't convince people to become the Taoist master like this. Lingyuan was roast in his heart. How much you want me to go? You really want to eat and live with your bags. What's wrong with being 10 years old? As long as you are a quasi-heavenly king with a pure background, you can apply to become the master of a Taoist sect. Moreover, there are no ghost-style Taoist sects in the Kanto region yet. The most important thing is that there have been no good seedlings in recent years, and other alliances have started gossiping. When the Kanto alliance started to decline, you can stand up for me and slap them in the face, Kikuko said angrily. Okay, Grandma, don't be angry. I'll just listen to you, Lingyuan thought to himself. The most important reason behind that is probably that haunted house in Jinhuang City will be closed for me. I have arranged a moving company for you, and tomorrow you will go to the dark city to familiarize yourself with the environment and deal with the trouble there. Do you hear me? Kikuko said in a commanding tone. Okay, I got it. The conditioned response from the Spirit Abyss replied, Host Spirit Abyss fear value plus 20. That's it, you start packing your luggage, hang up. Kikuko hung up the phone. Sister Nazi, have you seen the future where I left? Lingyuan looked at the direction of the Golden Dao Hall in silence. Boss, second, third, ghost stone, little candle, gather, Lingyuan shouted outside. Not long after, the elves collectively came to Lingyuan. When they learned that they were moving, the funny three brothers were still very dissatisfied. However, upon learning that it was Grandma Kikuko's order, they immediately went to help pack their luggage. Lingyuan can clearly see, boss's fear value plus 100, second brother's fear value plus 100, old third's fear value plus 100. Lingyuan held a board and wrote, due to special reasons, the Ghost and Ghost Thriller House in Jinhuang City will be closed immediately. New and old customers are welcome to participate in the event at a new address. Dark City XXXXX, XXXXX. Lingyuan replaced the board with the one in operation and also joined the pack. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 5. Lingyuan vs. Nazi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next morning, it was a hazy morning. Ding dong, the sound of the doorbell woke up the sleeping Lingyuan. Walking to the iron door of the villa, he saw the staff and the Howley family. The words, Howley Moving Company, were also written on the large truck parked at the door. Lingyuan opened the door. Hello, may I ask if this is Mr. Lingyuan? The middle-aged man led by him politely asked. I am. Are you from a moving company? Why did you come so early? Lingyuan replied with a yawn. I'm sorry to bother you, but today's work is quite urgent. The employer requires everything to be sent to the Dark City today and installation to be completed within today, the middle-aged man said to Lingyuan with embarrassment. It's not easy for you either. Okay, come on in. Everything has been packed and concentrated in the living room for direct transportation. Lingyuan, as a passerby, also knew that work was not easy and didn't hesitate to let them in to start moving. Taking the staff into the villa, they began to skillfully move things. After reading for a while, they went to prepare breakfast for the elves. When the person in charge came in, they explained that all the things had been moved and signed a confirmation letter. Boss, second, third, ghost stone, little candle, pack up. We'll go to the Golden Zodiac Hall first, then to the Pokémon Center, and then we'll set off for the Dark City. Jenga, 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 Wong Wong Wong, the elves nodded, packed some carry-on luggage, and threw it directly into the boss's belly. Under the gaze of Lingyuan, the Geng ghosts collectively jumped into Lingyuan's shadow, while the small candles entered the elf ball on Lingyuan's chest to protect his safety. Xiaoyuan walked to the door and locked the door, then hung the board for changing the address of the haunted house on the iron door, and turned around to leave the home that had been living for almost 2 years. After walking for a while, Lingyuan arrived at the entrance of the Golden Dao Hall, as if he had already known of his arrival. The door was open, and Lingyuan walked towards the direction of the battlefield. Nazi sat on her throne, her eyes filled with blandness. When she saw Lingyuan walking in, a hint of nostalgia appeared in her eyes. Xiaoyuan, you're here, Nazi regained her usual high coldness. I'm here, Sister Nazi. Did you predict my future leaving the gold market? I only said that yesterday, Lingyuan asked Nazi. No, it's just that we, the owners of the 8 Avenues Hall, received advance notice from the Alliance that a new quasi-heavenly king trainer would become the local Dao Hall owner, and your information was actually in front of us long ago. Xiaoyuan, I voted for you. Nazi seemed to be looking at a cute toy. Lingyuan shuddered for a moment, and every time Sister Nazi showed this look, there must be no good thing. Sure enough. At that time, the owners of the 8 Avenues Hall had very different opinions. As you know, Hualan and Nibi had already experienced a mismatch between the blue and yellow sides. Their representatives all voted against them, fearing that their status would be threatened, while Changban and Light Red hoped to suppress you. After all, your age was there, while those like Yuhong, Honglian, Kai, and us Jin Huang voted in favor, and the situation became 4.4. In the end, it was the Juzi Heavenly King who made this decision, but there was also a condition that in the quasi-Heavenly King assessment 2 months later, you would face your opponent at the peak of the Heavenly King. Nanzi smiled. Say to Xiaoyuan. Alala, Grandma is really causing trouble for me, so what? Sister Nazi, why did you come to me today? Lingyuan calmly looked at Nazi. Of course, it's for you to experience the peak strength of the quasi-Heavenly King in advance, so that you know how to work hard, Nazi joked. Lingyuan looked at Nazi in front of him, extremely speechless. Are you sure it's not because I'm leaving Jinhuang City? If you want to find a chance to avenge 2 years ago, you really can't provoke women, Lingyuan joked in his heart. Alright, this time it's also me, as a senior member of the Taoist school, teaching you how to be a qualified museum owner. Come out, Hu Di. Nazi didn't joke anymore and used her superpowers to open the Pokémon ball. Elf. Hu Di gender. Female attribute. Superpower series characteristic. Spiritual power qualification. Quasi-Heavenly King level. 70, Quasi-Heavenly King peak, level skills. Mindfulness, bending spoon, fixed body method, instant movement, illusion light, reflection wall, exchange field, spirit blade, self-regeneration, spirit shock, spirit enhancement, anticipating the future, meditation, sleep, true chi fist, shadow ball. The mysteries of the Heavenly King. Spiritual waves, spiritual barrier. This is definitely not Sister Nazi's ace Hu Di. He has seen that Hu Di, which is a mid-stage Hu Di of the Heavenly King level. The reason why he was able to suppress Nazi at that time was because Grandma Kikuko's third team was a peak of the Heavenly King and had already begun to understand the origin of ghosts. Because the other Geng ghosts were too strong, they stayed in the third team, which was why they could suppress Nazi, who had not yet unified her spiritual power. This was only the original Casey in front of him. Ah, it seems that we must fight, little candle, prepare for battle, Lingyuan shouted loudly as he looked at the situation in front of him. Roar. The figure of little candle appeared in front of Xiaoyuan. Little candle, who was preparing for the battle, had no ordinary foolishness, revealing his fierce spirit belonging to the ghost sect. Toon Yang Dog and Hu Di formed a standoff, and their aura erupted. At this moment, a figure appeared on the referee's bench. Now, the leader of the Golden City Road Museum, Nazi, is fighting against the candidate of the Dark City Road Museum, Lingyuan. The battle is 1v1. When one side loses combat ability, the battle ends and the challenger launches an attack. Nazi's father suddenly appeared and announced the rules of the battle. Lingyuan is very speechless. Are you sure you don't want to see him beaten up and avenged at that time? Are you both so careful, father and daughter? Also, can you put away the smile on the corner of your mouth? It's almost curved. Little candle, shadow ball, Lingyuan ordered directly. The little candle opened its big mouth, and the shadow ball bombarded Hu Di directly. Shadow ball, Hu Di, Nazi replied coldly. The two energy balls collided and caused an explosion, with smoke and dust covering the entire battlefield. Hu Di, move in an instant, little candle, sneak spirit raid, Hu Di and Tomb Yang dog disappeared simultaneously, and two figures could be seen chasing each other on the field. Hu Di's shadow ball and Tomb Yang dog's shadow ball often flew up, causing potholes on the ground. Boom! With a thunderous move, Hu Di returned to Nazi, while the Tomb Yang dog grabbed the ground and dragged towards Lingyuan, with a clear difference in strength between the two sides. Xiaoyuan, it's time for you to experience the combat style of the quasi-heavenly king, the spiritual ripple. Nazi looked at Lingyuan with sharp eyes. The two spoons of Hu Di intertwined, and the spiritual power rippled like water ripples. Wave after wave of spiritual impact hit the Tomb Yang dog, making it unable to move. Damn it, the heavenly king's secret, since that's the case, little candle, the song of curse. Lingyuan also knew that it was time to spell out his true abilities. The Tomb Yang dog opened its big mouth, and the ghostly sound waves began to ripple and confront the superpower energy. The purple and blue waves squeezed and twisted together, at this moment. Spiritual barrier, Nazi suddenly ordered, and with a twist of Hu Di's spoon, the Tomb Yang dog was enveloped by a polyhedral ball formed by superpowers. As Hu Di's spoon swung, the ball swung up and down, causing the Tomb Yang dog inside to be knocked unconscious by the recoil force. No matter how Lingyuan shouted, the Tomb Yang dog did not respond. Boom! When the spiritual barrier was lifted, the Tomb Yang dog was lying motionless on the ground. Little candle, upon hearing Lingyuan's voice, the Tomb Yang dog opened its eyes and slowly stood up. It was about to fight until the last moment. Little candle, don't get up, it's okay, Lingyuan cried out in pain, woo. The Tomb Yang dog looked at Lingyuan and let out a firm cry. Looking at the Tomb Yang dog in front of him, he knew it was time to give it all. I know now, then let's fight. The most powerful coffin explodes, roar, the ghost energy surges, and the Tomb Yang uses its final strength to unleash its strongest heavenly king's mystery. A huge coffin-shaped energy bomb hits Hu Di. Hu Di, spiritual barrier, six-fold, Hu Di formed a six-fold hexagonal barrier in front of him. When the energy burst from the coffin hit it, the six-fold barrier twisted, releasing the energy and then rebounded directly, throwing the dog towards the tomb. Not good, use it to defend quickly. Lingyuan didn't expect the unique skill of the Tomb Yang dog to be directly rebounded. He quickly called for the Tomb Yang dog to defend, but it was already too late, and the Tomb Yang dog's condition didn't have time to activate the defense. He only heard a loud roar, mixed with the screams of the Tomb Yang dog. Little candle. Lingyuan rushed over directly, and the smoke dissipated. The Tomb Yang dog was very miserable, with cracks on its limbs and feet, and its body hair was very messy. It lay unconscious on the ground. The Tomb Yang dog lost its combat ability and was defeated by the owner of the Golden Zodiac Museum, Nazi. Nazi's father announced the outcome of the battle. Lingyuan retrieved the Tomb Yang dog from the Pokémon ball, bowed to Nazi and Nazi's father to express gratitude and guidance, and then headed straight to the Pokémon Center without looking back. Daughter, are you too harsh on Xiaoyuan? Nanzi's father watched as Lingyuan left. My younger brother, who usually looks carefree and polite, is actually very proud in his heart, Nazi replied calmly as she watched Lingyuan leave. However, this is not possible. He is starting to slack off. If he doesn't hit him before he leaves to make him sober and face enemies in the future, then I won't be so kind. Nazi finished speaking and walked towards her room without looking back. Ah, I hope he can understand. The Chrysanthemum King is also well-intentioned. Nazi's father shook his head and turned to arrange for personnel to repair the site. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 6. Mission Arrival. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding dong, the door to the Pokémon Center opens, and Joey Lan has started preparing for today's work. Sister Lan, help me quickly. Little Candle is seriously injured. Lingyuan rushed anxiously to Joey Lan as he entered the Pokémon Center. Little Candle was seriously injured, what's going on? Joey looked up and was very puzzled. She knew the strength of Lingyuan's Tum-Yang dog, so why was she suddenly seriously injured? Just now I had a battle with Sister Nazi and was severely injured by her. Sister Lan, please help me quickly. Lingyuan couldn't explain too much and asked Joey Lan to help treat the Tum-Yang dog. I know now, hand him over to me, and you'll just wait outside. Joey Lan knew it wasn't a time of hesitation. Holding the Pokémon ball, she walked towards the emergency room, leaving Lingyuan waiting outside alone. Entering the emergency room, Joey Lan arrived at a large operating table, opened the Pokémon ball, and looked at the heavily injured Tum-Yang dog in front of her. Ah, Nazi, you've hit too hard, poor child. Just endure it and come out, little cloud. Joey Lan gently caressed Tum-Yang dog and opened the Pokémon ball. Happy, a voice rang out, little cloud, heal and recover, happy, happy. The green energy from the Pokémon's hands flowed directly onto the body, and the body of Tum-Yang dog was recovering at an incredible speed. The Pokémon's energy was overwhelming. It's even worse than the beard of Tum-Yang dog and Nazi. It's all my fault, Sister Nazi. Are you saying I'm slacking off? Did the 10-year-old quasi-heavenly king make me drift? Lingyuan sat outside the consultation room, reflecting on himself. After Little Candle became the quasi-heavenly king, he devoted himself to systematic research and collecting terrifying energy. His ordinary life also made him neglect the training plan for the elves, causing the strength growth of Tum-Yang dog and Ghost Stone to slow down. This failure was also a blow to him. At this moment, the shadows of Lingyuan surged, and the Geng ghosts appeared, all comforting Lingyuan. Even the funny three brothers began to perform their talk show, hoping that Lingyuan could be happy. I'm fine, just a little emotional. Boss, second, third, Ghost Stone, we need to work hard, especially you Ghost Stone. Your talent is the best, and I will be very strict with you in the future, Lingyuan said to Geng Gui. Elf. Ghost Stone gender. Male attribute. Ghost plus poison feature. Floating qualification. Champion level. 40, advanced peak, level skills. Shadow fist, hypnosis, strange light, licking tongue, black eyes, spell, night shadow, evil waves, shadow ball, dream eating, same destiny, shadow claw, underworld raid, assault, provoking genetic skill. Song of the end of the world, mirror attribute the secret of the heavenly king. Nun elf. Geng Gui, boss, gender. Male attribute. Ghost plus poison feature. Cursed body qualification. Daoguan level. 43, elite junior, level skills. Hypnosis, strange light, tongue licking, black eyes, spells, evil wave, shadow ball, shadow claw, assault, provoke, shadow clone, dream eating. Elf. Ghost Stone, second, gender. Male attribute. Ghost plus poison feature. Floating qualification. Daoguan level. 32, Advanced and Junior, level skills. Tongue licking, black eyes, spells, evil wave, shadow ball, shadow claw, challenge, hypnosis, dream eating elf. Ghost, 3rd, gender. Male attribute. Ghost plus poison feature. Floating qualification. Daoguan level. 19, Junior peak, level skills. Tongue licking, spell, shadow ball, challenge, hypnosis, resentment, same destiny. After reading the information of the Geng ghosts in front of me, Lingyuan also made up his mind not to slack off this time. Since I have become the master, I want to become the strongest master. Lingyuan's eyes have become sharp, and staying with the ghost faction for a long time is not without any influence. The ferocity that should be there is a little bit, but it has not been shown in his daily life. Ding dong, the host has finally made up their mind and started fighting for power. The system provides task plugins that require 500,000 energy to upgrade. What, upgrade? The system also brings upgrade, and why don't you grab 500,000 yuan? I collected 530,000 yuan for so long, Lingyuan said in his heart when looking at the virtual screen in front of him. His heart was bleeding, and this was the rhythm back to before liberation. I gritted my teeth and did it. It's no big deal. I don't want the new haunted house style review anymore. I took out the technique of pressing the bottom of the box, and Lingyuan decisively selected the confirm button. This upgrade lasted for 3 hours. Please stay tuned. 2 hours later, the emergency room opened and Joyland and the Muyang dog walked out. When Muyang dog saw Lingyuan, he rushed over and pressed Lingyuan under him, constantly rubbing against him. Great, little candle, you're okay. Lingyuan looked at the intact Muyang dog in front of him and was very happy. He also exclaimed that the Joey family's healing skills were too advanced. With such a serious injury, he recovered completely in a few hours. Sister Lan, thank you. Lingyuan bowed and thanked Xiaoyi Lan. It's a small matter, you can't be so reckless in the future. I don't know what you think about challenging Nazi, Joylan preached to Lingyuan. I don't want it either. It was Sister Nazi who asked me to come and find her yesterday. I think Sister Nazi wanted to hit me before I left the Golden Market, Lingyuan replied. Leaving, where are you going? Joylan asked in confusion. These are the 2 letters from yesterday. I need to develop in the dark market and leave the gold market today, explained Lingyuan and Joylan, bidding farewell. Well, then you have to work hard, sister will call for you. Joylan also sent her blessings. By the way, the cost of treatment, Lingyuan finally remembered the issue of treatment costs. The treatment of the quasi-heavenly king was very expensive. No need, just treat it as a farewell gift from your sister, said Joylan indifferently. Thank you sister, come back to see her when you have time in the future, Lingyuan said happily to Joylan. Not long after Lingyuan left, Joylan looked in the direction of Lingyuan's departure and said, Brother Xiaoyuan, we will meet soon. Joylan continued with her daily work today. Ding dong, system upgrade completed. Please check the task for the host. Lingyuan looked at the upgraded system and saw that there was only one task left unfinished in the taskbar. He immediately clicked to check. Task name. Ghost Shadow of Sewer, task details. Black Cloud City suffers from severe smog every day. As night falls, strange noises always come from the sewer, and some even see black shadows flashing past and escaping into the sewer. Task requirement. Go to Heiyun City to collect ghosts from the sewer. Task difficulty. Average, task reward. Unlock Ghost House Terror Scene Death Field plus doll making technology. Looking at this mission brochure, Black Cloud City, Ghost Shadow, it should be a ghost-type Pokémon causing trouble, with rewards, horror scenes, and doll-making skills. Many terrifying figures from previous lives have emerged in Lingyuan's heart, and this wave should be able to heal. Looking at the map, I decided to go to Heiyun City first, and then to Darkness City. I bought a ticket to go to Heian City and watched the city slowly pass by before leaving Jinhuang City. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 7. Coming to Black Cloud City. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Heian City itself is a highly developed industrial city and an important industrial development area in the Kanto region, providing a large number of job opportunities. However, due to long-term industrial development and the lack of reasonable planning in the early stages of development, the industrial industry is too concentrated, and a large amount of exhaust gas pollutes the sky, rivers, and land. Now, Heian City is constantly affected by haze, and a large number of Pokémon have been relocated to other places to live. The remaining ones are mainly the Stinky Mud Clan and some electric Pokémon living in tidal power plants. When Lingyuan's bus entered Heian City, one could see the entire sky covered in dark clouds, with a haze visibility of no more than 10 meters. The entire street was very bleak, with only workers wearing masks heading to the factory to work. As soon as Lingyuan got off the car, a pungent smell came from him. "Boss, hurry up and bring my gas mask over," Lingyuan quickly asked Geng Gui to take out the gas mask hidden in his stomach. Geng Gui searched around the corner and finally found it. He took out the gas mask and handed it to Lingyuan. "Thank you, boss." Lingyuan put on his gas mask and felt like he had come to life. He took the Geng ghosts to the Pokémon Center to see if he could get the necessary information. Ding dong, as you enter the Pokémon Center, you can see that it is very bleak and there are no trainers. "Hello, Miss Joey, I want to check in," he said. Miss Joey, who was tired, glanced at Lingyuan and said, "All right, bring over your ID card." Lingyuan handed the ID card to Miss Joey. "Miss Joey, what's wrong with you? You look very tired." Lingyuan looked at Miss Joey with concern. "Alas, I don't know what's going on lately. The power plant often loses power, and a black shadow inexplicably appears inside, causing many workers to lose their energy. Later, I don't know what's going on." The electric Pokémon also showed fatigue symptoms, and they were sent to the Pokémon Center one after another. Each one had to be checked, but there were no symptoms, just fatigue. Just a few days after being sent back, I came back and stayed up all night for several days. Miss Joey complained to Lingyuan after checking in, maybe it was too oppressive and needed to find some solution. "Black shadow. What kind of black shadow is it?" Lingyuan didn't expect a clue to appear so soon. "I don't know, some people say that black shadow has no substance, while others say that black shadow looks like a meow, but they all have something in common. They like to run down the water pipe, and the power plant has hired trainers to handle it, but black shadow is very fast, and they all act during power outages without catching a trace." Miss Joey returned her ID to Lingyuan and continued to lie on the table, taking a nap. "Lingyuan, leave the Pokémon Center and open the map to see the route to the tidal power plant." The tidal power plant is the largest power plant in the entire Guangdu region. The power plant has a towering chimney that can be used for thermal power generation to ensure industrial production if the seawater inlet is blocked. This is also one of the important reasons why the Black Cloud City has become filled with black clouds. Looking at the towering chimney, Lingyuan recalled bad memories from his past life. Lingyuan arrived at the factory gate and said, "Please stop. The factory is located in a critical area and no one is allowed to pass through." The security guard stopped him. "I am the candidate for the leader of the Alliance's Taoist Temple, and I heard that I need to talk to your person in charge about the factory's shadow." Lingyuan directly presented the invitation letter for the leader of the Alliance's Taoist Temple, which is also a symbol of strength. Without strength, the Alliance would not issue an invitation. After confirming the authenticity, the gatekeeper directly called his superiors and a middle-aged man rushed to the door to receive Lingyuan. When Lingyuan arrived at the conference room, he found out that the middle-aged man in front of him was the factory director of the power plant. Recently, due to the issues of the shadow and staff shutdown, he had been very busy and had lost a lot of hair. When he heard that a Taoist candidate was coming to deal with the shadow, he was very excited and ran straight to the door to receive Lingyuan. "Mr. Lingyuan, thank you for coming over to handle it. It depends on your age, but I'm not sure if it's possible to see your strength. In recent days, some trainers have also been commissioned, but every time they come back without success, we're also scared." The factory director wiped sweat from his forehead. "Of course, not a problem, little candle." Lingyuan also understood the other party's concerns. After all, his age was there. With a shout, the 2-meter-high tomb dog behind the Lingyuan was revealed, and its pressure was controlled in the conference room, startling the factory director and his secretary. They felt the pressure of the dog Pak-a-mon across from them, and the factory director understood that he had encountered a true genius. "Mr. Lingyuan, you are truly young and promising. No wonder the Alliance would invite you to become the local museum owner," said the factory director as the pressure from Tomb Yang Dog subsided. No, I still have a lot to learn. I wonder if the factory director can talk about the dark shadows," disregarded the director's polite remarks and went straight to the topic. No problem, let's start from a month ago. One day, I don't know what happened, but there were employees who had to take leave one after another, saying they needed to go home and rest. At first, they didn't pay much attention, but after the number of people exceeded 20, it started to be abnormal. Later, the electric Pokémon also began to show fatigue symptoms, such as small magnetic monsters and 3-in-1 magnetic monsters. We sent them to the Pokémon Center for inspection, but they didn't find any problems. It was fatigue. Just 2 weeks ago, this matter became more and more severe, and the fatigue of Pokémon and the workers continued to increase. I had to issue a commission to the trainer to handle it, the factory manager said with a sense of fatigue. I guess I was also scared. Later, some trainers arrived, but ordinary trainers couldn't do anything about it. Their elves also experienced fatigue problems after a sudden power outage. Later, an elite trainer arrived, and he finally found the problem. At the moment of the power outage, his electric dragon used a flash to see the black shadow, but the opponent's speed was too fast. When they chased after him, they saw him directly enter the sewer and disappear. The same happened a few times, and the trainers outside also began to spread the legend of the dark shadow of the sewer. The elite trainer stayed for a week without making any progress before leaving. After finishing his words, the factory director leaned his back on the sofa and rubbed his temples with his hands. I understand now. When do the dark shadows usually appear? Do you know if there is any reason for the power outage? Lingyuan asked after listening. Alas, due to a large number of employees taking breaks, the investigation work is progressing very slowly now. It is still unclear where the problem caused the power outage, and every power outage will be accompanied by workers and Pokémon suffering. There are now people left in the factory to maintain the minimum operation. The factory director replied. Is there anything special about the pattern of power outages? Lingyuan continued to ask. Especially, let me think about it. The factory director was lost in thought, but instead the female secretary next to her reacted. Factory director, do you remember what I told you a few days ago? The factory director looked at the female secretary and said, are you saying that every time there is a power outage, it smells really bad? The factory director recalled, unsure. Yes, although the smell is usually strong, every time there is a power outage, I can smell several times more foul odor than usual, the female secretary replied with lingering fear. Can you explain in detail what's going on? Lingyuan frowned. The female secretary looked at the factory director, who nodded after reflection. The female secretary began to tell the situation. Because the environment in Heian City was too bad at ordinary times, she would spray perfume to ease the torture of her nose, so she was very sensitive to the smell. When she was in a power outage, a very strong smell hit her, and she almost fainted. Later, she found that the smell was increasing every time there was a power outage. Later, she reported this to the factory director, but it didn't work out, and she didn't care. Lingyuan and the factory director fell into silence. Why didn't you tell me that the odor was constantly increasing? The factory director looked at the secretary with a bit of anger. I just thought it was a misconception. More and more workers took leave later, and I forgot because I was too busy with work, the female secretary replied timidly. All right, it's not too late to know now. Do you know the approximate time of each power outage, madam? Lingyuan, as a mediator, continued to ask the female secretary. It's probably at night or in the morning, and the time is not very fixed, but every time it's not long after work that something happens, the female secretary replied by checking the records. I have a general understanding, and I would like to confirm again that all the workers and Pokémon are not in danger of their lives, right? Lingyuan asked as he looked at the factory director. No, it's all fatigue and lack of energy, as confirmed by the doctor and Pokémon Center, the factory director quickly replied. Okay, I'll come here tonight before you start work and stay up all night with you, isn't that a problem? Lingyuan looked at the factory director and asked. Do you already know what's going on? The factory director looked at Lingyuan with suspicion. I roughly guessed what happened, but I'm not sure. I need evidence and personal experience to answer you, Lingyuan replied. Then please, if this matter can be resolved, I will definitely report it to the Alliance and thank you. The factory director stood up and took Lingyuan's hand, pleading. I'll go back to the Pokémon Center first to prepare. See you tonight. Lingyuan was sent out of the power plant by the factory director and female secretary. When Lingyuan returned to the Pokémon Center and looked at the task in front of the screen again, he always felt that this task was not simple, and there were many doubts that he had not figured out. However, he still took a break to prepare for the evening task. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 8. The True Body of Ghosts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Lingyuan woke up again, I checked the time and found that it was already evening. I woke up Little Candle and the others, finished their meal at the Pokémon Center, and immediately set off for the power plant. When Lingyuan arrived at the power plant, the security guard notified his superiors directly. This time, the receptionist was a female secretary who said that the factory director had been called over by the city leaders, and this time she would be the one to receive him. Lingyuan was very puzzled about this. Did your factory director say that you need to leave for something? Lingyuan looked at the female secretary. I think it may be due to the frequent power outages recently, which have affected many factories. I also hope you can handle this matter and restore the factory to normal, the female secretary replied somewhat uncertain. I understand. Take me to the place where the shadow appears first. Lingyuan didn't ask further, but kept this matter in his heart. The female secretary brought Lingyuan to the employee operation room, where there were many precision instruments and control images of the entire factory on the large screen. Several staff members were busy, and Lingyuan looked at the scene before her. Without the attention of the female secretary, she stepped on the floor with her heel. A black shadow quickly left Lingyuan's shadow and merged with the shadow of the nearby instrument. Take me to the place where the electrical Pokémon had an accident, he said to the female secretary after looking for a while. Is that so? Please come with me. The female secretary was puzzled and just looked at it for a while, but the factory director's orders still had to be followed. The female secretary brought Lingyuan to the top floor of the power plant, where she could see a large number of Pokémon, including small magnetic monsters, 3-in-1 magnetic monsters, mischievous bullets, and even a few thunder mounds. This is the workplace of Pokémon, which is mainly responsible for providing bioelectricity. Tidal and thermal power generation in factories are the main industrial power sources. According to the Alliance's regulations, excess electricity will be absorbed by Pokémon or reused to supply electricity to residents within Black Cloud City, the female secretary continued to explain to Zero Yuan. However, Lingyuan also discovered a problem. These Pokémon were very tired, and he found that the electricity had not been subdued, but was directly transmitted to them through a huge device. Pokémon then converted it into bioelectricity and entered the battery storage interface, which was unreasonable. As the strength of the electric Pokémon increases, they can directly absorb high-voltage currents for self-replenishment, or have certain immunity due to their characteristics of energy storage and lightning rods. The Pokémon in front of them has a maximum strength of just over level 35, and it is impossible to store electricity in their bodies for a long time. This can easily lead to an electric shock, which is a hot cold, like Pikachu, a little wit forcibly injected with electricity by the rockets. However, looking at the habitual response of the female secretary, "Madam, are you a trainer?" Lingyuan suddenly asked. Me, not really. I mainly study electrical engineering and rarely come into contact with Pokémon, the female secretary replied. I understand. Lingyuan knocked on the heel of his shoe when the other party wasn't paying attention, and a black shadow entered Lei Chou's shadow. Lei Chou suddenly looked at his own shadow and realized that there was nothing, so he continued his tormenting work, hoping to end it quickly and obtain enough electricity to give to his nephew. Lingyuan and the female secretary checked all the places where the shadow had appeared before, and then they returned to the conference room. The female secretary brought Lingyuan a bottle of water and then went to busy her own affairs, leaving only Lingyuan in the conference room. Time is slowly passing by, and the official start time is approaching. Lingyuan closed his eyes to sort out the information he had gathered, the strange reaction of the factory manager, the unscientific treatment of the electric Pokémon, and the sense of discord. This time, the target was a ghost Pokémon, and both the employee and Pokémon had their energy, strength, and electricity taken away. At this moment, Lingyuan opened his eyes and I realized the details he had missed. Some people said that the black shadow looked like a meow, and according to the secretary's instructions, it appeared in the place where the electric Pokémon had an accident. When the human energy was taken away, it disappeared directly into the sewer, which is the ghost Pokémon. So Black Shadow is not a Pokémon, but two or more Pokémon. At the same time point, they are all stuck in a power outage. Lingyuan realized this and didn't drink the water in front of him. Looking around, he saw a glimmer of reflection in the corner. Lingyuan's mouth curved slightly, and he finally knew where the sense of discord came from. Lingyuan no longer hesitated and continued to close his eyes to rest, waiting for the arrival of time. Ding-ling-ling, the sound of the factory starting work came. Lingyuan was about to leave when he saw the factory director hurriedly arriving here. He seemed a bit tired and said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Lingyuan, I'm late." The factory director apologized to Lingyuan, but Lingyuan waved his hand indifferently and then went to the employees' operation room together. In less than 15 minutes, there was a power outage and the surroundings were pitch black. Help! Suddenly, the voice of an employee came, and Lingyuan immediately ran over. Little candle, ghostly fire, in an instant, ghostly flames rose one after another, illuminating the entire operation room. A black shadow ran towards the door at an extremely fast speed. "Boss, Shadow Claw!" Just as Shadow was about to leave the room, a Geng ghost jumped out of the shadow and Shadow Claw grabbed onto it. At this moment, Shadow's eyes flashed red, and a wooden energy flashed through, directly knocking Geng Ghost away. With a bang, Geng Ghost collided with the wall. This is a wooden hammer. Looking at the familiar move, he already knew the true form of this Pokémon. Little Candle, Hidden Spirit Raid, the tomb-sweeping dog appeared above the black shadow, using ghost energy to attach to its claws and hold it down. At this moment, Lingyuan approached and saw that it was a Mimikyu, and it was also a shining Mimikyu. The puppet outside was light-colored, making it easier to hide in the dark night. Kaka kaka, Mimimi Q leaked out, trying to move the claws pressed on her body, but none of them could. Geng Gui returned to Lingyuan's side and looked at Mijue Q with lingering fear, thinking to himself where this crazy woman came from, beating people and causing pain. Elf. Mimi Q, Flash, Gender. Female attribute. Ghost plus fairy features. Painted skin qualification. Heavenly King level. 54, middle stage of Daoguan, level skills. Grab, scare, hammer, round eyes, imitation, shadow claw, play, split. Genetic skill. Same destiny, the secret of the Heavenly King. None. This is a highly talented Mimi Q, no wonder previous trainers couldn't do anything about it. It's already in the middle of the dojo, and it's not something that ordinary elite trainers can handle. Little Candle, stun her. Tomb Yang Dog directly uses ghost energy to stun Mimi Q. This is the difference between the quasi-Heavenly King Pokémon and the ordinary Pokémon, because after mastering the mysteries, they can directly mobilize their energy for subtle operations, while the ordinary Pokémon open and close, wasting a lot of energy on moves. Using the super ball he carried with him to subdue her, Lingyuan picked up the Pokéball and found that the task on the virtual screen was not yet completed, further confirming his speculation. The factory director saw that the chaotic Pokémon had been subdued and walked over to express gratitude to Lingyuan. Lingyuan didn't stop, he made a friendly gesture with the factory director, and then left the power plant directly. He wanted to find foreign aid. After returning to the Pokémon Center and confirming that no one was monitoring, Lingyuan took out the phone and began making calls. Hey, Xiaoyuan, where did you go? Didn't I ask you to leave the Dark City immediately? Hearing the old man's voice, Lingyuan also instinctively shuddered. Grandma, isn't there something delayed? I heard about the legend of a dark shadow in Heian City before, so I came to take a look, Lingyuan said coquettishly. Humph, what kind of dark shadow legend? I think you just don't want to be the owner, do you? Kikuko said with a hint of anger. No, Grandma, the legend of the dark shadow is true. I have already subdued it. It is a shining fan like Q, and its strength has reached the middle stage of the Taoist school. It even knocked the boss away with a wooden mallet. Geng Gui jumped out and accused Lingyuan of crossing the river and demolishing the bridge. Oh, Flash Fantasy Q, it's a bit interesting. Since you've won it, hurry up and go to the Dark City, Kikuko's tone returned to normal. However, Grandma, the matter is far from over. Lingyuan then told Juzi about his discovery and speculation, and Juzi was furious after hearing it. I knew something was going to happen to this power plant. When it was being built, the old man Damu had already raised objections, but the legislators even claimed to make improvements under the pretext of development. I can't bring up the issue anymore, it's really perfunctory. Although Juzi's tone was very plain, she grew up by her side and knew that her grandmother was angry, and someone was going to be in big trouble. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 9. Be My Elf. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wow, Grandma's anger is really scary. Someone is going to suffer, and then it's you. The little candle blocks the room. Lingyuan hung up the phone, took out the Pokémon ball that mimicked Q, and said to the air. At this moment, the ghost energy covered the entire room. Come out, Mimi Q. Lingyuan directly released Mimi Q. As soon as Mimi Q came out, he slammed a wooden mallet towards the spirit abyss, but was blocked by ghostly energy. The small candle revealed its shape, and Mimi Q felt the terrifying aura of the other party and dared not act recklessly, causing both sides to fall into silence. You want to drive away innocent people, right? This is a retaliation against the power plant, right? Lingyuan said slowly as he saw the other party calm down. Mimimi Q suddenly looked up, her terrifying red eyes fixed on Lingyuan. This human was the first to guess her intentions, and she also heard the conversation just now. She made up her mind and nodded slowly. Ah, why are humans all doing evil? Lingyuan rubbed his temples and said, "Tell me your story." Although Lingyuan guessed that this was a personal grudge against a tidal power plant, he didn't know exactly what happened. With the narration of Mimi Q and the translation of the boss's performance, he roughly sorted out the whole story. This Mimi Q was not a naturally born Mimi Q before, she was a female Pikachu who came to the tidal power plant 2 years ago. During the construction of the tidal power plant, many trainers opposed it due to its foreseeable pollution issues, especially Dr. Daiki, who held a special position. He was not only a registered PhD of the Alliance, but also a former champion of the Guandu Alliance. Even Grandma Kikuko once said that her true strength could not beat Dr. Daiki now. Therefore, in order to cater to Dr. Daiki's feelings and ensure the success of the power plant project, the Alliance came up with a compromise and proposed the Pokemon Power Generation Project, which uses the Pokemon help to generate electricity and provide electricity for residents in Heian City. In the future, this project will be expanded to replace thermal and tidal power generation. However, the owner of the tidal power plant does not want to use such a time-consuming and expensive solution. On the surface, he maintains the Pokemon Power Generation Project, but in reality, he uses unscientific charging methods and collaborates with Pokemon hunters to treat electric Pokemon as consumables. This Pikachu was stolen and hunted, and after coming to this project, she lived a life of ups and downs every day. Because Pikachu's electric bag couldn't store such a high voltage, a Pokemon stood up to help her. It was a male luck cat that was also stolen and would help Pikachu suck up excess electricity every time. Later, they fell in love, and soon Pikachu became pregnant. Luck Cat didn't want his lover and children to go through such things again, so one night he ran away with his lover, and their eggs were handed over to Pikachu's brother, a Luck Cat, to help take care of. They were gambling, hoping for a glimmer of hope, because they knew that this operation could be ominous. Not long after they fled, they were caught up by a Pokemon hunter hired by the former factory manager. The Luck Cat faced the approaching Black Luga and urged its lover to leave quickly. One Pokemon fought against 3 Black Luga, and the outcome was self-evident. He was torn to pieces in front of Pikachu, and Pikachu fell into despair. She cursed the world, and why did she have to endure all of this? She used all her power to use an electrical trick, a volt attack, and died together with the 3 Black Luga. When she woke up again, she didn't know if it was a blessing or a curse from the world. She turned into a Mimikyu, and her level was very high after absorbing all the death energy. At that time, she was already an elite Pokémon. She came to the place of death again and found that her lover's body was still alive. Her body had been blown up with 3 Black Luga. She cried bitterly while holding her lover's head and finally buried her under a nearby big tree. After burying her lover, Mimikyu turned her gaze to the power plant. She wanted revenge, she wanted to destroy the power plant. When she arrived at the power plant again, she sneaked into the plant and saw Raicho. Raicho was tightly holding the elf egg, afraid that it would be harmed. Mimikyu looked at her own egg, and the flames of revenge were temporarily extinguished. As a mother, she had to protect her child. She proved herself to Raicho and told him about her fate. Raicho was furious and wanted to fight against the humans at the power plant. Mimikyu stopped him, she wanted to take the egg away, and when it grew up, she would die with the power plant. Later, the elf egg hatched, and it was a little cat monster. The offspring of elves may not necessarily follow the mother's lineage. As the little cat monster grew up, he asked his mother about his father, because nearby Pokémon had parents, and he only had a mother. She and his mother looked different. Faced with the child's repeated requests, Mimikyu still softened and told the little cat monster everything that had happened. The little kitten can't believe it, these are true, and he can't believe the pain his mother carries. He also wants revenge, he wants to save those Pokémon, he wants to help them, maybe it's the innate sense of justice of the Lingyuan cat clan. Mimimi Q disagreed, so he ran away from home for the first time. When he appeared in front of Mimimi Q again, he was already a lucky cat. Mimimi Q saw her son again, rushed over and hugged him, afraid of losing him again. She had nothing left. Luck Cat once again proposed to join the ranks of revenge to Mizwa Q. Mizwa Q was afraid that his son would run away from home again, so he agreed. Time has returned to a month ago when they arrived near the power plant, defeated the leader of the Stinky Mud clan, and took away the command of the Stinky Mud clan. Whenever the tidal power plant started tidal power generation, they would block the outlet, causing the motor to overload and causing power outages. Later, Mimi Q and Luck Cat entered and sucked away human energy in Pokémon's excess electricity, allowing them to temporarily leave the power plant. When the number of people in the power plant was reduced to the minimum, that is, when launching a total attack, the other Pokémon who stayed at the power plant were all accomplices, and they would cause chaos when launching a total attack. This is the beginning and end of the entire sewer Dark Shadow. After listening to Mizwa Q's account, the people and elves present fell silent. This was not helplessness, but the calm before the storm arrived. Whether it was Toom Yang Dog or Geng Gui, they were all angry. As long as Lingyuan gave a command, they would all start killing. Lingyuan's anger also rose in his heart, and his gaze revealed a murderous aura. The ferocity that had accumulated in his heart began to unlock. He looked at Mimimi Q and said, "Be my elf, I'll take you to seek revenge," Lingyuan said solemnly as he looked at Mimimi Q. As a ghost-type Pokémon, Mimi Q can sense human emotions. She realizes that the other party has not deceived her. Mimi Q makes a decision and looks at Lingyuan, who also understands her meaning. He placed the Pokémon balls in front of her, and she lightly tapped her wooden stick into them before calling Kikuko again. "Hey, what's wrong with Xiaoyuan? You called again," Juzi was puzzled. Her precious grandson called again. "Grandma, I'm going to kill a lot," Xiaoyuan said gloomily. What's wrong?" Kikuko frowned as she heard it. Afterwards, he retell the story of Mimi Q to Kikuko again. "Xiaoyuan, do whatever you want. Don't worry about Juncha's side. Remember to find evidence, I'll handle the rest," Juzi instructed Lingyuan before hanging up the phone. Just then, boom. A huge explosion came from afar. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 10. Spirit Abyss vs. Hunter Z. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom. The huge flames dyed the sky red, and the entire city began to become chaotic. Lingyuan looked through the window of the Pokémon Center towards the direction of the tidal power plant. Lingyuan understood in his heart that subduing the Mimi Q was the last straw to crush them. At this moment, Mimi Q also emerged from the Pokéball, feeling very anxious and worried about the safety of her brother, son, and other companions. "Let's also take action, boss, give me the equipment," Lingyuan turned to ask Geng Gui, Geng Ga, Geng Ga. This time Geng Gui accurately took out the equipment from his stomach, Lingyuan put it on, and the other elves entered the shadow of Lingyuan, only the little candle was outside. "Little candle, prepare for battle, this time it's a serious move," Lingyuan rode onto the back of the Toom Yang dog and put on his special mask. Wang Wang Wang, Little Candle's body was filled with ghostly energy flowing, and then Lingyuan and Toom Yang dog disappeared into the room at the center of Pokémon. The scene of the fire can be said to be very chaotic, with sparks and external currents everywhere, incomplete walls caused by explosions everywhere, and even people's arms exposed outside the ruins. The internal elves and humans have formed a battle, and the army of Stinky Mud has simultaneously used mud attacks to bombard the humans. The humans wearing battle suits are commanding a large number of black Luga for defense. Other electrical Pokémon are dealing with scattered black Luga, and one of them, a luck cat, can be seen to be very brave. He used his claws to scratch the eyes of several black Luga, and the other electrical Pokémon behind him directly combined to discharge attacks on the lone black Luga. How did you do it? How did you get them to detonate the power plant? Do you know how much trouble it would cause? The man in a fitting suit commanded a junior Nido King from the dojo, attacking the crazy electric Pokémon. Do you think I'm thinking? These electric Pokémon are all crazy, and I regret taking on your business now, said the middle-aged man in battle uniform, looking at the fierce and fearless electric Pokémon in front of him. He was speechless in his heart, thinking that he was just here to deliver goods. How could this happen? I don't care, you get rid of them for me, otherwise I'm done, and you're done too, said the man in the suit. He was already hysterical as the explosion at the power plant broke the strings in his heart. He couldn't even imagine how the families behind him would handle him if they knew about it. Okay, I've taken care of these animals, give me 10 times the reward, the middle-aged man took the opportunity and the lion exclaimed. You're ruthless, okay, 10 times that's 10 times, quickly get rid of them all, the man in the suit reluctantly made a compromise. Ha ha ha, okay, you said, come out, Black Luga. It's time to make money, the middle-aged man took off the elf ball from his chest and released the elf inside. This is also a Black Luga, an ordinary Black Luga is 1.4 meters tall, which is only 1.8 meters high. If the other Black Luga are wolf cubs, this is the Wolf King. Roar. Black Luga used a roar, and the electric elves on the opposite side were instantly suppressed by sound wave energy, and many were even overturned. The electric Pokémon were unable to move due to the oppression of evil energy, and looked at the fierce beast in front of them in terror. The Stinky Mud clan also gathered together and prepared to run away at any time. The middle-aged man looked at the elves in front of him with high toes, thinking about how to take care of them or change hands. He could earn more money, but at that moment, he saw a very unpleasant look in his eyes. A luck cat stared at the other person tightly, even though it was suppressed by the energy of the quasi-king, it still stared at the murderer of his parents in front of him. I hate your gaze, the middle-aged man walked in front of the luck cat and stepped on his head. When the middle-aged man was about to let Kuruga kill the luck cat, a shadow claw hit him in the chest. However, Kuruga accelerated faster and moved at high speed, knocking the other's claw away. The middle-aged man was held by Kuruga and dodged, who dares to touch your Grandpa Z? When he stood up again, he saw a flashing Mimikyu being knocked away, while the luck cat, distracted by Haluga, lost its control and rushed towards Mimikyu, rubbing against him with tears in his eyes. The Mimikyu used shadow claws to stroke his head. Flash Mimikyu, it's really a favor of Arthas. This is an excellent product, it's mine, it belongs to me. When the middle-aged man saw Mimikyu, he was excited and completely forgot that the other party had just wanted his life. At the beginning, Murano Goro was a bounty hunter, and his ace was a mid-level Black Luga who was a quasi-heavenly king. He had a special fondness for Black Luga and often carried a large number of Black Luga legions. He had participated in the Bain Mountain Banderas poaching activity and was wanted. Later, he joined the letter poaching organization and was named Hunter Z. A voice sounded from around, explaining the true identity of the middle-aged man in front of him. Who's playing tricks, come out, Hunter Z shouted as he looked nearby. A young figure appeared next to Mimikyu, spraying the wound medicine on Mimikyu and Luck Cat. It turned out to be a little ghost, this is not where you should come. Let's go home and have some milk. Hunter Z looked at the boy across from him, his mouth full of contempt, but he had already begun to be secretly vigilant. Being able to appear in front of him so leisurely was not an ordinary person. Well, I actually wanted to ask you to borrow something before going back. He instructed Luck Cat to leave with the electric Pokémon and turned to look at the other person with a smile on his face. Oh, what is it? Hunter Z was a bit surprised. Your life. Lingyuan looked at the other person with a murderous gaze. Little ghost, you wanted to kill me 200 years ago. Black Luga sprayed flames, a pillar of fire rushed straight towards the spirit abyss. At this moment, a shadow ball collided directly with the pillar, causing an explosion in the smoke to dissipate. Standing next to the spirit abyss was the Tomb Yang dog, staring fixedly at Black Luga across from him, with a surge of ghostly energy surging from his body. Oh, what kind of Pokémon is this, the mid-level quasi-king? Is this your reliance? Little ghost, Hunter Z's vigilance has already reached its highest level. He has never heard of such a young mid-level quasi-king, let alone seen it. Yes, they should all have left, and our battle should have started. Lingyuan realized that the other Pokémon had already left a distance, and was ready to start fighting with all his might. Little candle, the song of the curse, Lingyuan ordered, and the Tomb Yang dog opened its big mouth to transmit sound waves. The purple ripples began to ripple, and the ordinary Black Luga was hit by the ripples and drained of his strength. Bastard, the king of heaven's righteousness, neurotic, who opened the big move. Hunter Z was not affected because he was protected by the evil energy, but when he saw that his other Hiluga had lost their fighting ability directly, he felt roast in his heart. Black Luga, blazing flames impact. Black Luga directly unleashed the divine meaning of the heavenly king, enveloped in a large amount of blue flames, like a hellhound charging towards the tomb sweeping dog. Little candle, the coffin explodes, the Tomb Yang dog stopped singing and bombarded it with energy similar to a coffin. The purple and blue energies collided, creating a huge energy aura. Lingyuan and Hunter Z also lay on the ground for the first time, preventing them from being blown away by the shockwave. Boom, a huge explosion, larger in scale than the recent power plant explosion, made the already noisy Black Cloud City even more chaotic. Many people saw the energy leakage caused by the huge energy collision in the distance, and Pokémon, who had just escaped, was also shocked to see another explosion at the power plant. The speed of escaping was faster, but Mimikyu looked at a figure with fierce red eyes and went straight to kill in that direction, while Luck Cat followed behind his mother. When the explosion subsided, what caught the eye was a power plant that was even more dilapidated than it had just been. Depending on the situation, it had to be rebuilt to a certain extent. Hunter Z rushed out of the ruins, his body covered in scratches from the rubble. Crazy, crazy, I can be considered a madman who is even crazier than that stinky woman Jay, he said, his heart dripping with blood. The explosion just now made it impossible for many Black Luga to survive. How much energy did he need to put into enriching the Legion? In the distance, Black Luga and Tomb Yang dog have already fought together. Both sides are Pokémon, and they belong to the King of Dogs. No one will let anyone down. Flame Fong, Thunder Fong, Jet Flame, Night Shadow, high speed movement, and sneak attacks. The two elves come and go, sometimes biting each other, sometimes colliding at speed, and even long range bombardment, making it difficult to determine the winner for the time being. What about that little ghost? It won't be killed by the explosion. Hunter Z looked around and a cold light flashed over him. Hunter Z immediately looked up and dodged the tip of the sword, cutting through his throat. Then he saw the long sword that almost killed him. A Geng ghost appeared from the shadows, and the hand was extended from Geng's belly. The masked little ghost emerged from Geng's belly, unscathed. Terrifying little ghost, just exploded and hid in Geng Gui's belly. Hunter Z felt lingering fear. Little ghost, who are you really? What is our grudge? We need a life and death duel. Hunter Z couldn't figure it out. Isn't it just delivering goods to old customers? Why are there so many troubles and inexplicably offending such a terrifying enemy? You forgot, Lingyuan replied through the mask. What? Hunter Z puzzled. You forgot about the Pikachu and Luck Cats you killed before. Lingyuan stared at Hunter Z. What? Pikachu and Luck Cat, etc., those two animals that caused me to lose 3 Black Luga last time, Hunter Z finally remembered after reminding him. Oh, just admit it, then please go on the road, Lingyuan thought to the other person, and a stone fell in his heart. What you, Hunter Z was about to speak when he saw a ghost hand pass through his chest, grabbing his heart. He turned around and saw a ghost stone. When Hunter Z fell to the ground, and his life came to an end. Looking at Hunter Z who had died in front of him, Lingyuan felt no waves in his heart. Instead, he focused on the distant battlefield. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.